This is the Angels Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Angels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
My, oh my, what a freaking win for our Angels on this Sunday. Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, after every single Angels game, right here live on the Locked On Angels YouTube channel, and after the fact, both on the channel and wherever you get the Locked On Angels audio podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, what's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area, spent not one, not two, not three, but 4 years covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and now in year 2 with the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Yes, I'm in the car, and you guys got me absolutely dying in here. W car stream from Christopher. Aaron says car stream, lol. Jesus says driving and streaming. No, I'm not. Dennis asking if I'm driving Uber. I am not driving Uber. I'm in the car. Someone is driving, and I'm not driving to New York. I wish I was. But I'll be honest. I am obviously in the car. I am also using a hotspot. So be honest with me. Tell me if the connection is not great. If it isn't, we'll try to make some technical changes as the show goes on. But yes, in all honesty, that rain delay did throw a wrench into my plans, and it also threw a wrench in the plans of the Phillies. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, we've got some Mariners fans in here, very annoyed. Everyone's saying the connection is great. And yes, Joe, I'm here for the people as always. The plan, I told you guys yesterday I was in Santa Barbara. The plan was to do the show and then boogie. But obviously the rain delay changed that. We're able to do the show in the car because we're in big 2025. So got to shout out that. But with all that being said, I can't even talk here. A lot going on. What a win for our Angels today. I mean, you could not have asked for a better performance than what we got on this Sunday. And I know there were some jokes online, some jokes on the radio about maybe a rain delay is what was needed for the Angels to finally break their horrible record in Sunday day games. This made it more of a day game in the West Coast time, at least, going from 10:30 to that 11:15 first pitch. But I don't know if it was the delay. I don't know if it was something else. But the Angels looked absolutely flawless today. I mean, really not anything you can complain about. You look at the lineup. Just about everybody had a stellar performance. The only starters that did not get a hit, Joe Adele, and then a guy, Nolan Schanuel, who, of course, left this game with an injury, got replaced by a guy in Lamont Wade that had an unbelievable performance. We'll get to that later. But basically everyone in the lineup came through. Only 6 strikeouts as a team, but you had 6 walks to counter that. Another 13 hits to score 8 runs. You got a combination of everything. You got the runners in scoring position. You were effective with runners in scoring position for once, 4 of 13 there. You stranded 13 on base and still scored 13 runs because of how many hits you had, how many walks you had, how many times you were able to come through with runners in scoring position. But you also still had the big fly from Lamont Wade. You had 2 doubles from Taylor Ward, an unbelievable performance from him, a crazy good weekend from Taylor Ward. We will talk about that as well. And yes, our boy, my boy, Jose Soriano, looked like the guy that I tell you has Cy Young potential. Some people in this stream, the last couple of times he's had rough starts, they were asking me, Gavin, why do you act like Soriano has this potential when he is inconsistent, when he doesn't come through all the time? It starts like these that remind doubters. This guy has everything necessary to be one of the best pitchers in this division, in this league, in this sport. Absolutely. So we will talk about all of that, and what a great win to win this series, 8-2 the final, a stunned Philadelphia crowd. They were booing all game, as they do in Philly all the time. But man, what a great win. And obviously this road trip, this 6-game trip where you're thinking, oh man, you might take a 2-4 record on the 6-game trip when you talk about playing 3 in Philadelphia, 3 against the Mets. No, you're 2-1, and you're already on pace to have a very successful road trip here. So with all that being said, a long intro here, but let's jump right into it And I want to do something that people might not expect here. I'm going with the player of the game, but it's not who you think.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Connection a little rough. It took some time there for the transition to come through. But some of you are saying it's got to be Jose Soriano. Some of you are saying it's got to be Taylor Ward. But there's one person here that got it right. Nathan is right. I'm going Lamont Wade as the player of the game for the Angels. And why? One, we'll talk about Taylor Ward later. But two, to have a guy in Lamont Wade who has been so awful, a guy we expect to do nothing, to replace one of our most, if not our most, at least most consistent in terms of always having good at-bats, always getting productive outs, drawing the occasional walk, having a decently high average, that is Nolan Schanuel. So for Lamont Wade to come in and replace a guy like that and not just have a hit or two, the guy went 3 for 4. There's 13 hits today, but Lamont Wade, the only guy with 3 hits in the lineup. He's your player of the game. 3 hits, an RBI and a run on the solo shot in the 6th inning. At that point, it was a big Angels lead, yes, but I don't know, call me crazy. That really felt like the final dagger there, right? Because at that point, it's 6-1 Angels. You're going in the top of the 6th, and he's able to come through with that solo shot. That made it 7-1, and really at that point, the Boo Birds were more than out. They were probably leaving the building early because of that deficit that they were at. Yes, JCH, we'll get to that turning point as well, absolutely. But you just got to give Lamont Wade credit. And as someone here who I've got a loud mouth, I'm very, it's my job to give you my opinions, raw, unfiltered, sometimes over-exaggerate things, have energy. What is that going to lead to? That's going to lead me into ripping into guys like Lamont Wade when they struggle. And we know how bad he's been. Despite going 3 for 4 today, the average is still 178. The OPS is still 551. The guy has hardly contributed since joining this team. But if I'm going to come in here and be a loudmouth that's going to rip on guys when they struggle, and we know all of you in the comment section, you guys are fans that are certainly going to do that every single day, then dang it, we better give these guys credit when they come through. And he did not just come through with one swing. That is typically what we see from Angels players when we give them credit. It's, oh, they came through with 1 home run or 1 double or something. No. 3 separate hits and a walk. He reached base 4 times, including the solo shot. You got to give him his credit. And yes, the home run was an absolute mammoth shot. So in terms of the scoreboard, maybe it didn't, make that big of a difference, that home run. But in terms of just the timing, how big of a home run it was in terms of the distance, just the aesthetics of it, absolutely, Lamont Wade is worthy of being the player of the game. Got to give him his flowers. Absolutely. Now, before we jump into our break, we do want to, and there's honorable mentions for player of the game, right? Jose Soriano being one of them. We will talk about him later, and we will talk about Taylor Ward. I know you want me to. I know what I said yesterday about wanting to trade him. Do I still stand by that after another unreal performance to cap off an unreal weekend? You'll find that out after the break. But before we take the break, let's get to America's favorite segment. Someone just hinted at it. Let's get to it.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
None of this would have been possible without what happened in the top of the second. Yes, did Jose Soriano have a stellar start that would have kept us in a game regardless. But without this top of the second, it would have been another, here we go, drinking game, another coin flip ball game. There it is. I know you guys are waiting for it. It would have been a coin flip game if it wasn't for this top of the second inning, right? But because of this, because of a call, because of a clutch hit or two, this goes from being a nervy game that we easily could have lost, and then you're talking about a series loss and frustration, back-to-back losses. This became a stress-free ball game, which we rarely get in Halo lands. We will absolutely take it, and let's get to that bottom of the second inning. Of course, everyone talking about the call. We'll get to that in a second, but the craziest part, this 5-run inning starts with an out, and then from there, the Angels string together 4 singles in a row. We know how many home runs this team can hit. We know that the extra base hit is what they rely on, but it feels so good when it's 4 singles in a row. And think about the four guys that came through. I love it. He said, kept our coins in our pockets today. That's hilarious. For Logan O'Hoppe, who's been so bad, to have a base hit. Beautiful. For Luis Rengifo, who's been so polarizing, to have a base hit. Beautiful. For Kevin Newman, who's been a minor league baseball player most of the season, for him to come through with a base hit. Stunning. And then Zach Neto caps it off with another unreal performance from him. I can't believe I disrespected Zach Neto at times by saying, I don't know, maybe Schanuel's the best player on the Angels. I don't know, maybe O'Hoppe is the leader of this team. No. There's no need to debate it anymore. Zach Neto is the emotional leader, the productivity leader. He is the heart and soul of this team. He's the leadoff guy, and he sets the tone on the field, on the bases, and of course at the plate. And he did it again today. And so the bases are loaded for Neto in this one, and he comes through with a base hit. Neto with 3 runs and an RBI. He goes 2 for 6, but the guy gets on base. He's the perfect leadoff hitter. He really is. As Israel's ripping on me, he says, dude is on the 405 doing his podcast. Hey, I'm a man of the people. Don't rip me. Don't rip me. I'm trying to give you the content regardless. But yeah, Zach Neto comes through with the RBI single. That made it 1-0. And then despite the rare Lamont Wade flyout, and I say rare only in this game, the Angels are still able to keep the rally going. Think about it. It could have been a 1-0 ball game going into the third inning after this Lamont Wade flyout. But then for Mike Trout to do what he does with a perfect, people are saying self-driving car, saying eyes on the road. Guys, I'm not driving. There's other human beings driving, okay? But Mike Trout comes through with the walk. We've talked so much about how if it's not the clutch swing, it's the clutch walk. And yes, he got a gift here. This is the polarizing pitch. This is the turning point pitch and call of the game, maybe of the entire series, maybe of the entire road trip, maybe of the entire second half of the season. This is a huge call, right? It's a high fastball or a high sinker from Suarez. And I'll be honest, is this a call that could be a strike? Absolutely. But I see people acting like this is a huge missed call, no chance that this could be a ball. This is a 50-50 pitch. This is a high sinker that dips into the strike zone, right? So it would be one of those calls that if it is called strike 3, Angels fans would be complaining it's a bad call. Of course, it's not called strike 3, and Phillies fans are complaining it's a bad call. It's a 50-50 card. It's a sinker that drops on the letters of Mike Trout. But when the bases are juiced, when you've had a crazy inning, you know how it is. The ump's not going to give you that call if you're having a rough inning. And he was having a rough inning. Was he wild per se? No. But he did already have a hit by pitch of Nolan Schanuel that injured him, by the way, and then a walk of Taylor Ward in just the first inning. Then he comes into the second inning and gives up 4 consecutive singles before this at-bat. So, hey, is it a 50-50 call? Yes. But you can't act like it is an awful call and that the Phillies got screwed or anything. It's a 50-50 call with a pitcher who's been wild so far in the game, and it ends up being a walk. It walks in a run. It becomes 2-0 Angels, and then Taylor freaking Ward continues one of the best series we've seen from him, and we know how good he is when he's good, how bad he is when he's bad. Bases loaded, 1-2 pitch, and this is just a flat-out mistake from Suarez, a fastball right down the middle, and he takes advantage. Deep fly ball, 101.5 off the bat, bases clearing, 3 RBI double. That makes it 5-0 Angels going into the bottom of the second, and that was really all she wrote, especially with how dominant Jose Soriano was in this one. Very long opening segment here. We're going to take our break. When we come back, we're going to briefly discuss both Soriano and Taylor Ward and how important this series was. We'll do all of that after our break here on a victory edition and a road trip edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, today's show on this Sunday is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. And today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get on the game while your friends are getting sunburned at the beach. I already tell you all the times I've used FanDuel when I'm out of California. The app keeps it fresh. They've got new daily promotions. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and it makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. So if you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet just $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Back here live on a very special Sunday edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. Yes, I'm in a car, but more importantly, the Angels are in the win column for the second time in 3 games in Philadelphia. Let's be honest, this is a stunning series win. You opened it with the biggest shocker of them all, a win to open the series coming out of the All-Star break in a bullpen game, in a game where Bryce Harper hits 2 home runs, in a game where he has 3 RBIs, and you win that game, right? Then you lose yesterday, frustrating one where Schwarber goes crazy, Harper goes crazy. You come back here on Sunday, and let's be honest, you dominate the Phillies. Dominate the Phillies. And what did I say yesterday? I said, you look at that 1 through 9 lineup. It's a decent lineup for the Angels, especially if Moncada's in there. What's the irony? The irony. Moncada is out of the lineup with the knee issue. Schanuel gets knocked out of the lineup, and yet this team doesn't miss a beat. Another 13 hits, another 8 runs, 6 walks, just 6 strikeouts, a dominant win. And, of course, we have to talk about the biggest reason of all in this series that the Angels pick up a stunning series win. It's Taylor Ward. The guy finishes with 8 RBIs in this series. And I know what I said yesterday. I still, I don't want to be too much of a, I want to be level with my takes. I still lean towards, if you get the offer you deserve for Taylor Ward, I still think you pulled the trigger. I know. But it has to be the right offer. And the good thing, I tweeted it, and if you don't follow me, Gavin Carlson _ on Twitter. If the Angels don't trade Taylor Ward, the excuse cannot be that there were not suitors, right? That cannot be the excuse. But what the excuse can be is if you don't get the value you need, right? You know there's going to be suitors, and it's not just the Padres. There's going to be 5 to 8 teams that are in contention that would love to have a guy in Taylor Ward that can have stretches like this, where he can have 8 RBIs in a series, where the average can go from 220 to 230, right, in a couple games, when the OPS can go from 750 or something to almost 800 in a few games, right? But the good news is now it's not just 1 or 2 teams, and the decision is whether you are trading him or you're not, right? Now the decision is, are we trading him? And if we are, is there a bidding war going on? Can you force 3 or 4 teams to get in on this? And you can say, we'll trade him if we get this. And if we don't, we're not going to trade him. And teams actually have to believe you when you say that, because there is a reason for the Angels to keep him, right? If Taylor Ward was doing what he was doing, but the Angels were 30-50, and they were saying, sorry, Padres, we only will trade Taylor Ward if you give us this and this, they're going to look at us and say, yeah, right, there's no reason for you to keep him. We're going to lowball you. And the Angels then just to decide, do you take the lowball offer or do you keep him, right? Now it's a very different dilemma where it's, do we keep him because we're going to try to win? Or do we get a high ball offer for him, right? There's no reason there's a low ball offer coming in for Taylor Ward after this stretch. This is exactly what a contending team wants. They want to trade for a guy who doesn't have too much commitment past this year, but is also playing his best baseball. And that's what Taylor Ward is doing right now. So this is the dream scenario for the Angels when it comes to Taylor Ward. It's arguably the most difficult scenario because it really is a tough decision. I'm someone for a year and a half has been screaming trade Taylor Ward, and even I am really debating it now. It's the largest dilemma we've had, but it's a great dilemma because the Angels are a good enough baseball team to where you can justify keeping him, but the offers you're likely going to get for him are good enough to justify getting rid of him as well. Now, that's that on that. I know that was honestly a whole lot of nothing there, but that's me really just saying I'm still unsure, and I know you guys are as well. It's going to depend on what you get for him if you end up pulling the trigger there. But if you keep him and you slide Moncada in this lineup and you slide Christian Moore in this lineup, man, oh man, it looks interesting. But if you trade him, my opinion is you trade him, Christian Moore comes back and plays second base, and you've got the likes of Rengifo and Chris Taylor, and I know I'm going to say it, Kyron Paris or Matthew Lugo, who can fill in the outfield if he's gone. Or you can even slide in Trout into the outfield and have Soler play DH, have Soler play in the outfield, right? There's options. There's options if you do trade him to where this team is not suddenly going to lose every game. I do wholeheartedly believe that. But with all that being said, we're going to quickly wrap this one up by saying one more time, shout out to Jose Soriano, 7 innings, 6 hits, just 2 earned runs, 2 walks. The ground ball was working. It's pretty easy to know if you're going to get a good ball game from Jose Soriano based on 2 things, the control and the amount of ground balls. And we had both today. Very few walks, just 2 walks. And there was like 10 ground balls just halfway through this ball game. The Phillies could not get the ball in the air. Ironically, one of their 2 runs comes off the first home run off Soriano away from the Big A all season. But even despite that, it was a stellar start from him and a stellar start or series for our Angels. So with all that being said, we're going to wrap this one up. Nathan thinks we're going into a dead spot on the freeway here. So maybe it's perfect timing to end this one. Again, this is supposed to be an 18-minute show, but because I'm a yapper and because I love you guys, we go 23 minutes despite being in the car on a hot spot. So what a series. Let's look forward to tomorrow where the Angels can turn a very difficult 6-game road trip into maybe the turning point that convinces even a doubter like myself that this team can compete for a wild card spot. But for now, Sunday will be all day. I won't be in a car on a hot spot. I'll be in front of my beautiful studio setup and with all of you all. So have a great rest of your Sunday, a great weekend. Enjoy this tomorrow. Go Angels and Mets, we're coming for you next. Take care, everybody.